Welcome, everyone, to Analytics Are For the Nerds. We just completed week 13 and got a lot of injuries to talk about.
Pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up.
Okay, wait. Hello, everyone. I told Louis before we started, I'm like, I'm in such a bad mood. And then, we enter, I'm like, hi, everyone. There's some really bad injuries. Can't wait to talk. I'm sorry. Gosh.
Literally, she spent the last hour complaining about how bad of a mood she is, but she's happy about people's pain, so that's okay.
Look, it's fitting because I'm in the same boat right now. It's been a tough couple days, so I'm right there with you. But maybe it's fitting for week 14. Just everyone's running in with headaches.
Yeah.
I'm miserable too. We were all talking about, do we want to just make this a fuck the rest of the
Let's
fantasy?
Commiserate. This is what we're here for.
A therapy session. What's bothering you, Rye?
No, what's your seatbelt?
It's been a shitty week. It must just be in the air. There must be something going on in the galaxy. Must be something going on in the. Okay.
All right, girl, chill out.
Yeah, I mean Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, we've got some big ones. Yeah, we've got Lawrence, Pickett, Stevenson. Anyone hurt the most on your teams? Anyone?
The Lawrence injury looked like it was going to be way worse than what it is, supposedly, right? He's calling it an ankle sprain. I thought his leg was obliterated just based on the way his leg moved. And I couldn't believe they kept showing that replay. So it'd be amazing if it's only a 1 to 2 week injury. And then Pickett, of course that's tough for Lou's team. I mean, that's, unfortunate timing with the Howell bye. I won't step on your toes too much. You can talk about it. But then of course, Stevenson, you're looking at a couple of weeks for him, and Zeke's likely to fill in that spot. Although I don't know how many pieces you want to have on a New England offense right now.
I tweeted it the other day. Zeke Elliott, league winner, baby. Who was predicting that? I'll tell you what. I don't know. I haven't even looked. I should look. Maybe we will when we get into the BBM leaderboard. But I know I have a crazy exposure on him. I'm assuming that not a lot of them are advancing, maybe, but I'm excited to maybe see if one of my advancing teams is got him, because Zeke, league winner, man.
All right. So should I just keep going?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Another thing I don't like about my life. No, I'm joking. So let's talk about that. So with those players now gone, right? We've got some rebuilding that's going to have to occur. If you still have a trade deadline on a win now team, what are you doing with some of these players? So I got a few I'm going to ask you about. I've got Minshew, Raheem Mostert, Stephon Diggs, and Kittle. What are you going to do with these guys?
That would be on a rebuilding team.
A rebuild, right?
Yeah. Okay. Rye, you want to start?
Sure. So I'll start with Minshew. So this is on a rebuilding team, what you're going to be selling these players for, or what, the least that you would take these players for. I'd value him at, and this is funny, we were going to do this segment last week, and it didn't happen. So we're doing it this week. And I wonder if any of our prices are going to change, but I'm still looking at last week's notes, and I have it as a 2024 second. That's what I would take Minshew. Yep. I think that's about right. I mean, he's certainly not worth a first, but is he a perennial backup that's going to potentially help you on a team down the road, right? It's very important to have quarterback depth in a super flex league. So I think that's about fair. And if I'm, a rebuilding team and looking to unload him, I think I'd be happy to take a second and try to roll the dice with a pick next year, which, seems to be a pretty good class.
Go ahead. Go right through the players.
Sure. Okay. Yep. For Mostert, I would sell him for a younger running back like Kendre Miller, or if I could get my boy Tajay Spears, I'm taking him, or a wide receiver and like a mid-round pick, a third round pick. In my thinking here is Mostert's not going to help me next year if I'm a rebuilding, or certainly not this year if I'm rebuilding. Might as well try to restock for a player that's going to be worth more in 1 to 2 years. For Diggs, I would love to still spin him for someone like Garrett Wilson or Olave. You probably would need to add a pick or two on the Diggs side to get that, but I think some of those players could be had right now. I think sometimes, you think about the Garrett Wilson owners right now, maybe they're getting a little impatient. Maybe you could float Diggs and try to, get younger on that side. So I think those are some players you might want to look at. And then for Kittle, I think the least I would take for him right now is a 24 first. I'm still, premium at the position. There's not a lot of guys I think that you're going to get that sort of production out. Yes, he's inconsistent, but if it's not a first, I would like a younger, promising tight end, maybe like a Musgrave plus a second, or Musgrave plus a third, something like that, where you can get younger at the position and still give yourself another dart throw.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points. I'll just blow through it real quick. Minshew, definitely. I had second written down, on my list, and I don't think there's really anything that makes more sense. Superflex, like that's an easy trade to make today if you're on a rebuilding team. Mostert, I'm right there too. I wrote a second. I liked your idea of KJ Miller. I do think Tajay Spears is probably too much to ask. Keaton Mitchell was an interesting name I came up with here. I think Mostert just falls so hard off of this cliff after this year that I want to get him off of any team that, now how many teams is Mostert on that is rebuilding? He's carried a lot of teams, so who knows, but that's what I'm doing with him. Diggs, you said big names and scared me a little bit, but then you said you'd have to add on Diggs' side. You want to talk about somebody else who I feel like is really going to drop off a cliff this year. Like, give me London, give me Pickens, give me Rashee Rice, give me Addison right now. Like, I will take any of those guys right now for Diggs. I want to get Diggs off of any kind of roster that's not going to compete this year, and that's coming from Bills fans. So, but I just think he's going to just continue to keep going down the pecking order. You mentioned Garrett Wilson there. I have to just really quickly mention him. I'm trying to get him anywhere I am rebuilding. Like you said, owners are down on him a little bit. He's not going to help them much the rest of this year. If I could score him, I'm scoring him. And Kittle, you're not going to get a McBride or a Kincaid or anything. But, one thing I was going to say here is too many guys are concerned here with when you're rebuilding that you need to keep every single one of your picks. If you can get a youth guy, like adding a first round pick to Kittle and getting a Kincaid or a Laporta, like I'm in for something like that and don't mind, because it's just like scoring a first round pick next year. I think too many people are scared to trade their draft picks for younger players while they're rebuilding because picks are sexier. So that's a little bit of it. I know that we had another part of this, but why don't we go ahead and skip that? I know we were going to do some win now, but why don't we do win now next week? Because there will still be a thing, and we'll bring in our guest. We can talk. Well, do we want to talk? No, we'll bring in our guest, and then we'll talk about me.
Okay. I was like, I'm still crushed that we're getting rid of Diggy. I'm like, we'd like to welcome Blake Sanders. Blake, welcome to the podcast. I know you are doing very well in your BBM, so congratulations.
Is he there? Is he?
Audio, timeout.
I was on mute. Sorry.
No problem.
Thanks for letting me come on. It's been a crazy year so far, so I look forward to talking about it with you guys.
Yeah. So I got a lot. One good thing that came out of all this interaction today is a lot of people are listening to our fucking show, guys. It's kind of shocking, but a lot of people have been listening. A lot of people got to this tweet about trying to find some of the BBM leaders, and we got to Blake here. And man, Blake, like, what a portfolio you got going on here. I'm gonna your top team right now is what, in the 21st? Is it?
I think I'm in. I've got one in 25th, and I've got one in 42nd.
All right, I'm gonna pull this up.
And listener, Louis 35th. We just want to throw that in there. So you're sandwiched in there, Lou.
Yeah, I'll talk about that as I'm pulling this up. I stayed exactly in 35th, which is insanely stupid. I just had such a great week. Like all of my my main players here. Let me take this off. All my main players just really boomed. Like I had Evans and Olave and Achan and Mostert, and just like, I had a week that was like, I'm going to fucking move up here and do some damage. Unfortunately, my quarterbacks are Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett. And even more unfortunate is that I will be going into week 14 without a quarterback. So holding on the 35th as we now, I would say there's zero chance to move up unless I hit the nuts in every other position. And I'll probably be really hopeful to stay in the top 100. But it's a tough week for me, but this isn't all about me all the time. We'll talk about Blake's team here. This is Blake's 25th. I'm sorry, I know it's really small, but this is the 25th place team. If you want to talk a little bit here about your team here.
Yeah, and you had some run bad, man. But I mean, you're not totally dead to move up, right? I mean, maybe if it's a flat or low quarterback week and Kelsey spikes, I think you're the leading Kelsey scorer right now, right? So
I'm the leading Kelsey and leading Olave. So those two guys can,
big spikes.
I think I'd have to hit the nuts to maybe move up, but. You got a couple of my guys. It's so crazy watching a team like this, like seeing this team your team that's here, whatever, and it's so much different than mine. Achan, Mostert, and Evans are the only repeats, I think. So it's just kind of cool to see the different build. How many teams did you end up having?
So I maxed out BBM 4. I mean, I think across all contests, I ended up maybe 500 or 600 teams. I don't really keep up with it that much except for this tournament. I just kind of let the cards fall, But this tournament I keep up with because I'm, doing well. So, this team, wow, it's been a hell of a run, and I'm looking good this week too. I have great matchups, and I'm in a good position to move up more, really.
No big buys here, right?
No, none. I don't think. Not, right? It's Washington and Arizona only this week, I think. Right?
Yeah. So, man, I mean, if you could get Schultz back in a spot here this week, whatever. Even if you don't, Komet could score enough for you. Man,
I think JJ is going to play this week. Like, finally, if that's what kills me, man. This thing, I could have took this thing down if I had drafted Tyreek Hill, and I was taking Tyreek at 101 and 102. Here and there. So, I got Justin Jefferson 1-2 here. I was taking Tyreek off them, but that 102. And what are you gonna do?
Well, easy to say. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, looking at your receivers, it's impressive that the way that I see it, you could have at any week, you could have potentially 5 wide receiver ones, right? I mean, that's the hammer right there. Is that you have not only the Stroud, Collins, stack, which is, I think, going to be huge for the rest of the season, given what happened to Tank Dell. But you have Evans, who's, single-handedly won people leagues and weeks last year with his monster performance in the playoffs. Michael Pittman, who, quietly has been one of the most productive receivers, potentially the most underrated receiver in the entire league this year. And then, what is there to be said about Justin Jefferson and his potential comeback, on an offense that, let's be honest, is going to need him, I think, if they want to still continue this playoff push, whether it's Dobbs or whoever it is throwing the football back there. So, I think you're setting up great. And then just one last piece I wanted to mention is that Kamara has just been looking, perfect these last couple of weeks, right? Especially with some of the weeks when you didn't have Achan, it had to be nice, not only Achan, but Walker too, right? Having Kamara to fill in to get you through those weeks. So, set up very, very nicely for the last couple of weeks here.
So much run good. People are so scared, and leaning into the uncertainty is really what this team looks like, right? I mean, the Mike Evans, the Michael Pittman, the Kamara, the Mostert, the H. Those guys were all. There was a lot of uncertainty around that position, right? In the best ball streets during June and July, especially, and so I was really hammering those guys all the time. I don't know if you checked out my exposures, but Mostert is really what's carrying me this year.
Yeah, and he's carrying every. I mean, he's on like almost every team in the top 50, I think. Did you do you know when you drafted this?
Yeah, I looked at that earlier. I think this one was September 15th, or not September 15th,
July 15th. That's impressive because a lot of the good teams, my team that I got up there was like the day before it closed, and you doing it in July is good. I think you probably I was looking through it earlier, but you have one of the better early teams. I think you might have the earliest top team as far as the date that you're in. I not to overstep Allie if she has this question or anybody else, but and we kind of just dove into this, but I'm a little interested in knowing what your background is as far as playing fantasy. Like, are you all best ball? Is this like your first year getting into it big? Have you been into it a few years? Give me a little bit of your background.
I dabbled in best ball often. I think I maxed out maybe BBM 2, and I had a couple teams in the finals, and they shit out. Last year, I think I had one team get to the finals. It was a Burrow team, and that didn't work out. So this year, we're going for it again. I was like, oh, we'll just max it out. But no, my background is actually in finance, specifically banking. I've been doing that since I graduated college for 9 years now. So it's really just been risk management, some economics. I think before that, though, what really drives kind of my interest in the DFS space really is I was a bridge player. I don't know how familiar you are with bridge, the old lady card game,
Yeah.
But I at a young age, for sure.
No, go ahead.
Hey, Blake, since you are a numbers guy, do you think playing without a quarterback is technically called strategy, or?
It's not optimal. I know it's not optimal.
You got 61 out of 150 teams advancing right now. I mean, that's 40%. That's super impressive. You're going to have a lot of live. You know what I love about this team that we didn't even mention, that your top team is whatever. Regular season prizes are great and beautiful and all, but like, what is Jefferson advancing at right now? It cannot be huge.
It's 6%, I think.
Is it? Let me just pull it up real quick while we're here. Jefferson is only advancing. You take Jefferson on that team into 6.3%. He's advancing. So, and you have by far the best Jefferson team. Man, that's exciting. That's exciting. I'm glad that we decided to bring you on, because when you win all this money, now you're our friend. So that's kind of friend of the show.
I probably have even more leverage than that, because, how many Justin Jefferson teams advancing still have Kirk Cousins on them and are advancing, So, I probably sit even better than that looks, honestly, from that perspective anyway.
Yeah, that's, let's, you're a numbers
guy.
Can
look, right?
Let's find out the numbers. Let's see. Jefferson and Cousins are 6 point. What? How is that even possible? Isn't that more than just Jefferson? Saying it's advancing at 6.4 when Jefferson was only 6.3. How's that?
There's probably a lot of Addison Hawkinson getting tied to
maybe.
it. Keeping it pushed up.
There you go. That could be it.
The correlation piece.
Yeah, we needed you here for me to understand that, because I would have been sitting here trying to figure out that math for the next 40 minutes. Awesome. Let's take a look at the number one team here real quick, because they had a huge. What was it? Is it Mikey Juice still? No, it's not. It's no half step. And this is the top team right now. So
James Cook.
a lot of my running backs. I got Rashad White, Mostert, Kyron Williams, and he does not have Achane. I got those three guys. No wide receivers of his, so that's fun. Tank Dell is on his team, so that's going to hurt him. But Josh Allen is about to put up 7,000 points this week, so he should get a good week out of quarterback. And that's just me being a Bills fan, Blake. You don't have to believe that that's really going to happen. But
Oof. I'm glad you don't ask me who's going to fail, because I was definitely picking Josh Allen to fail this week, and I'm praying he fails because I think Josh Allen and Dak are so far ahead of me right now in some of these tournaments.
You need
Well,
a
Blake, it was so nice to have you on the podcast. We'll see you.
we are a Buffalo-based podcast, Blake, but I actually am a little bit big, and not just the homer in me, but I do think Allen's they're starting to kind of release the chains on him a little bit because they really don't have any other choice. They were playing really conservative with him for most of the year and trying to control his running and his rushing attempts, but they don't have that option anymore. And he's been kind of like it's been like kind of a wild horse the last 2 weeks. I think that's only going to continue until they lose a game. And I tweeted this today, and I truly, truly believe it. And this isn't a homer take, but like they're playing in the Super Bowl this year. Like I truly, and a lot of that has to do with what's going on in the AFC with the injuries, right? Like they're all over the place. It's weak, but I can honestly, even if they don't win the division, but Miami has Dallas and who's their other tough
Baltimore
game?
Is a big one.
If they lose to Baltimore and Dallas and Bills win out, like obviously we have the game with Miami, like we even win the division. I don't care about the division because we've seen wild card teams get hot and just go through it. But I don't think there's a team in this league that wants the Buffalo, and at least in the AFC, that wants the Buffalo Bills to make the playoffs because they'd be super dangerous. Their efficiency, you're a math guy. I mean, the efficiency numbers are like through the roof. They're just
Off
a
the
lot of bad.
charts.
So I'm excited to see where that goes. Anything that your overall exposure here that like you're really hopeful for here, and what's your main guy here that you would want to count on here this week? Is it Mostert?
In regards to the first place team,
just your overall portfolio, I guess. Like, if someone put a gun to your head right now and be like, this guy needs to produce. If you tell me a name, this guy's going to be the best producing player this week. Who would you want it to be? Like, is it someone that
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah. I guess that's probably it, right? That makes a lot of sense.
That team is like my 42nd place team is better than that team. That's what drives me wild. It just couldn't get there.
Let me pull it up, but it's not in 42nd for some reason here. Hold on, let me see. What's your username again? Sorry.
B Sand Arc.
Okay. B Sand Arc. I will say this leaderboard database here gives sometimes a little bit different than what Underdog puts on their site. I don't know why. 42nd here. So this is the 42nd place team. Fields, Allie's guy, Jordan Love.
Yep.
Allie called a huge game for Love last week, while me and Ryan called huge games for Greg Dortch and Devin Singletary. So can we just talk about that for a second, though, real quick? Like, not to go too far off, but the Devin Singletary Pierce thing was like, what the fuck happened there? It just was like out of nowhere, right? Like a little bit. And Pierce, what is your take on that? Like I guess the rest of the way, or do you just like you got to fade them both now?
I mean, in DFS, I'm gonna play whoever nobody else is playing in that situation because I just don't know who it's gonna be. Damian Pierce looked good when he was running last week. He didn't look bad, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, was he hurt? Were they cautious? I mean, it's really a hard situation to decipher how that flipping has happened. It could be game script too, right? It could just be game planning as well. But I mean, at this point, your guess is as good as mine, honestly.
You got you got some good running backs here that get you some points. Cook's been dying down a little bit, but again, I mean, Cook all year has been just in between the 20s, but you're constant, like he's your constant floor play. But you're probably hoping for Barkley and Kamara, Mostert there too, to score your points.
Love the Kincaid on there.
Yeah, love seeing Kincaid. I mean,
I had a lot of Kincaid this year. I was big on Kincaid. He started moving up towards the end of draft season, and I was like, man, I don't know if I like him that much. But
I have a lot of Kincaid Laporta teams that are currently advancing, and I think that's going to be fun to watch. Because if Josh really does take off, I still think he's going to need a secondary target to Diggs. And I know the week before the bye, I think he had eight or 9 PPR points that week. It wasn't really a big week for him, but man, I think if they are going to make this run like Louis talking about, he's going to be a big part of this offense. And I would expect him to do big things in weeks, 14 and on.
I haven't looked at his chart. I don't know. Is he staying kind of mostly in the middle of the field, kind of short, medium yardage, and they're just kind of sending Gabe Davis and Diggs down the field? I haven't really had a chance to look at that lately.
Go ahead, Ryan. I'll let you answer, and I will jump on, but I'm going to grab a beer.
So I don't know based on where he's been charting. I know just from watching the games as I do every single week, his favorite route seems to be to, lining up in the slot and running, kind of like a skinny post to the middle of the field where he does that, kind of fake to an out route. He's running a lot of outs in post. And that's my guess. Yeah. I don't have the numbers or the stats to back it up, but from what I'm seeing, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And
those are the kind of routes I think that are simple, easy. And like, if the defense is playing a certain way, you could just continue to hit that. And Josh, I think he's trust him, right? I mean, that's developed over the course of the season. So, I mean, I think he's going to smash the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I really do.
It's gotten a lot better over the last couple of weeks with the offensive coordinator change. There was a lot of under Dorsey. It was just corner routes and it literally was like that idiot that you play in Madden that just does the same 4 plays and just, kills it and you hate it, but you can't stop it. Well, eventually you learn how to stop it and you just play against those 4 plays. And that great player learns another play to kill you, but you eventually stop those 4 plays. And that's what Dorsey was doing. We've seen a lot more. I mean, this is legitimately the most that he's involved with the running backs in his whole career. The last 2 weeks, he's been dumping off a little bit to Cook. Even Ty Johnson has become a player in that offense the last couple of weeks because he really trusts him to catch some balls. So he's taking a lot more of what the team give him rather than forcing stuff. And, it doesn't matter how you get them. If you get them 5-10 yards at a time, it doesn't matter. The big shots aren't necessarily needed. You asked about Davis. I don't know are you all best ball? Do you have lineup leagues? Like, what does your portfolio look like? And then
it's primarily best ball. I do. I play a couple $100 in single entries each week on daily fantasy DraftKings stuff. But other than that, I mean, I'm not real big into like managed leagues or Dynasty. Mostly for time. I've got a newborn, and work is crazy. So I'm just like, man, I'm good. I'm gonna tone it down this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. To finish my point on Davis I was gonna say, if you're in any live leagues like David or managed leagues, like Davis is a dead asset to me as far as I'm concerned going the rest of the way. Like he's losing the confidence of Allen. He's losing the confidence of the team, and other guys are stepping up. Shakir's looking better. Obviously Kincaid is looking better. Ty Johnson's taking targets now. Ty Johnson's taking the role. I was really big on the Fournette signing. I thought Fournette was going to come in here and be playoff Lenny. Ty Johnson came in like legitimately the next game and kind of did the Fournette role and good. So I think they're just kind of sitting back like, well, we don't need to bring in Lenny yet to as long as Ty Johnson can do this. So, all right. Well,
and there's probably still some development happening there, right? Like this is still a fairly new thing that they're doing. Not that the offensive coordinator has been gone. So there's probably still some things we haven't seen coming out of them yet.
I did want to before we just move on to this game, someone, oh man, let me check Twitter because there is a former Buffalo guy that had reached out to me, Dan Martinson. And he said he tweeted back at us today. It was like, I'm a former Buffalo guy. Currently, he's in 21st. So he has a massive sweat this week. He's like, it's been fun following your sweat all year too. So he's been jumped in on the podcast all year, following it. Former Buffalo guy. I just wanted to give him a little shout out because I did offer him a spot in the podcast too if he had time. He didn't have time today. He was disappointed, but good luck to Dan and to us, right? Like, I mean, not as much to Dan as me and Blake because he's not here, but good luck to him as well. I got a fun game that we're going to move on from all this BBM talk. You know, who cares if we're going to be millionaires in a few weeks? But I got a fun game to play, and we're going to keep Blake. Is you're good with that, right? To come and hang out.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
Sure.
So
The baby's you're good.
What I'm going to do, baby. Well, he had to leave the house. He just like, I hope someone's there with the newborn. He was like, he said he had technical problems. He had to go to his brother's house. I hope that someone's with the newborn. If not,
We'll be up all night. You're fine.
Listen, me and Ryan have the little ones. You really learn. I have a brewery at the corner of my street, and there has been certain times that I have thought, how far will this camera go? Like, we got the room camera. I'm like, all right, it's 9:30. It's been a late night. If the camera works right down the street, what is going to happen in the 30 seconds that I can get back to the house?
Yeah. What if your house extended all the way to the brewery? Like, basically, doing the same thing.
Don't give me any ideas.
Yeah,
all right.
If any social workers are listening right now, he did not.
You're kidding. Just joking.
So my wife, right? Talking about social workers.
Oh, is she? Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. That's all right. No recording the CPS. I had her on the podcast last week. She's playing with naked Bart. Like, I am not helping my father of the year thing. That's fine. All right. I'm gonna go through names. I'll try to keep score, but I don't got whatever. We'll figure out the score later. But I'll ask you three. Is this a player who scored a fantasy point this year or not? And we're gonna start with. I'll start with Ryan, but we'll go through all three of you. Malik Taylor is number one.
Yes.
Allie.
I'm going to say yes.
Blake.
I will say yes.
You guys are all right. Easy one off the top
Patriots.
of the bat. Malik Taylor, I believe, wide receiver.
Patriots.
I should have probably looked. What's that? What are you thinking?
It's Green Bay. I thought it was the Patriots.
We'll figure it out. You Google it. I did. I checked my stuff here, but I did not. Okay.
Mac Jones, 0 points. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, Allie, we'll start with you this time. Todd Chester.
I'm going to say no.
Blake.
I don't even know who that is, so I'm going to say no.
It's no way. It's got to be some character. It's got to be Kevin James's character in some movie.
No, it's the neighbor from Christmas Vacation, played by Nicholas Guest.
Okay, right.
Why is the carpet all wet, Todd? Okay, that's Todd Chester. You guys are doing great. You guys are sweeping this. I thought this last time you guys had some trouble with this. So number 3, we'll start with Blake this time. Jesper Horsted.
Yes.
Ryan.
What was the name? I'm sorry.
Jesper Horsted.
Yes.
Allie.
Just to be a weirdo, I'm going to say no.
All right. The guys were right this time.
Right.
Jesper
I was
Horsted, tight end somewhere. I know.
I wanted you to smile.
I know Bears. I know Bears at least at one time. So, all right, guys, up by 1. Ellie, you got 1 to.
I was trying to. Okay.
All right, it's fine. I know you were trying, but I mean, it doesn't change the fucking score. No matter what you're like, oh, I was trying to be different. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're still a fucking loser. All right, number 4. We'll start. I know that was really aggressive, especially she's having a bad week. She's gonna go cry now. And I called her a loser. I'm sorry. All right, no, number 4. Allie, we'll start with you. Peter Fontaine.
No.
Ryan.
No.
Blake.
No.
Peter Fontaine was Corey Feldman's character in a huge omission of ours last week in the holiday movie draft, Gremlins, which I can't believe we fucked up. The original Gremlins is a Christmas movie. It's great. Corey Feldman's in that. Also, speaking of Corey Feldman, did you see he was trending on Twitter today because he is touring with Limp Bizkit this summer? His band, that is so great. It's so great that he is.
Where does that come from?
I don't know.
Absolutely want to go to that. Like,
is that a Six Flags tour?
I'm going to that. I'm going to find the closest place.
Right, I'm in. Let's go.
What was the big Limp Bizkit CD?
Nookie.
Yeah.
No, the CD. It was called like chocolate covered peanuts or
chocolate covered starfish.
Right there. That was it. That was like
not that Ryan's a huge fan. Not that.
No, not like I had it on an MP3 player. Yeah.
Me and Ryan are going. All right. Next. Cody Thompson. We're gonna start with you, Ryan.
Wow, that's a good one. I'm going to say no.
Blake.
I'm going to say yes.
Allie.
I'm gonna say yes.
All right, Allie and Blake are right. Cody Thompson was a wide receiver somewhere, and I can't remember where, but I think he was a wide receiver. But Ryan, you were wrong. He didn't put, the one thing I fucked up is I didn't put positions, and I don't know these guys either. You act like I know these guys. He does have fantasy points this year.
Because Ryan thinks he also got the answer right then, is what he could say. Right?
Yeah.
Seattle. It looks like Seattle. I don't know. I've never heard of the guy.
Yes. I think he had like maybe two catches 1 week.
Good for him.
All right. Tristan Jackson. Blake, we'll start with you.
No.
Allie.
Yes.
This is hilarious because the answer is yes, and this was actually my dog of the week who then went on to get 0 fantasy points.
Oh,
what?
Yes.
You literally said that guy's name on
Tristan
our podcast.
Jackson. I couldn't even pronounce his name, and it was the week that KJ Osborne was not supposed to play, but he did play because he cleared the concussion protocol or something way sooner. And I was like, oh, yeah, this guy, he's going to separate into this role. I've been absolutely horrendous on the dogs this year.
You wonder why we've been so bad on dogs and cats and dogs since we're fucking naming Tristan Jackson as their dog. That's great. I even though you said his name on the podcast, I'm not trying to say that I don't listen to you, but today I thought I've never heard of him. Okay, next one. We're going to start with Blake. No, I started Blake last time.
You got a point then. He got a point.
Yeah. Ellie, let's do Marcus Skidmore.
1. Ew. I hate me. Okay, I'm gonna say no.
Okay, Blake.
I'm also gonna say no.
Ryan.
I'm gonna just be different and say yes. Game theory here.
I'm glad that at least somebody got it wrong. I thought it might be too obvious. It was the elf in Bad Santa, played by Tony Cox, the little midget guy. So, and you picked it. Oh no, that's another. I got a text today after I put up the poll of the holiday movies, like from a friend that I haven't talked to in like 10 years, and he was like, "Bad Santa didn't get drafted, you idiots!" Like he was really mad about it, and we are bad.
If it was a 6th rounder, Bad Santa would have been on the list.
Yes.
I will say that. That's Sorry, listener.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna start with Ryan this time. Michael Burton.
Yes.
Ellie.
Burton. Michael Burton,
Michael
you said?
Burton.
Okay, there you
go. Sorry.
Burton. I'm going to say yes.
Isn't he a basketball player? I'm going to say no.
He is someone who scored a fantasy point. If anybody wants to Google what team for, you could do that. But I promise you, it's a thing. And then the last one, we're gonna do the last one. Sorry, I should have done that, but I didn't.
That GED thing you always talk about.
I do a lot of prep. I've been prepping all day. All right, we did one Peter already. This one, Peter Robbins. We'll start with Blake.
I'm gonna say no.
Ryan.
There's no way. No way.
Allie.
Is that? I'm going to say that's from the book. I'm going to say no.
What book?
It's
Peter Robbins was the actor who was the voice for Charlie Brown. So Charlie Brown's did Christmas thing. But speaking of which, is it? I doing this today and seeing that. Why is Charlie Brown the only person in the world like everyone just calls by both names? No one sees me and it's like Louis G. Like I thought maybe like it was like a long one name, but that's weird. So I looked it up, and in the comics, there's a character called Poochie, a female named Poochie, which whatever. And she was the one who started calling him Charlie Brown. Up until that point, he was just known as Chuck. So,
yeah, but you're also not going around calling Chuck E. Cheese just Chuck. You're not calling him Chuck or Charles.
Oh, that's a good one. But is Cheese his last name? Yeah, it is.
It's
Chuck
Charles.
Cheese.
His literal name is Charles Entertainment Cheese. I'm not kidding. That's
You're
like
right.
what it's supposed to. Yes, it's a true.
All right. I guess there are some first and second name people. Anybody else that you could think of? I mean, there's Prince. There's one name people. I don't know. Is there? I don't think that there's anybody else besides Charlie Brown and Chuck E. Cheese. This is gonna. I'm gonna be.
There's
But no, people call him George. People call him George. No
Dolly
one's like,
Parton.
hey, George Jetson.
I'm not gonna just call her Dolly.
Yeah, you call her Dolly. Call her
I don't know.
Dolly.
Maybe her
I
friend
think.
there's plenty of those. Yeah,
we're
there's
off the rails.
I think we're good. Okay. That was that. That was a really fun game. I think probably Blake won, but whatever. We're not going to give him this win. He's got winning enough as it is. Blake, really thankful that you joined us today. We'll probably have you back on when we could have you for a little bit longer. Good luck next week. And,
thank you guys.
Yeah, man. Let's I hope that you do. I hope I'm first and you're second. I'm not going to be first, but so
I'm not either. It's too far ahead. I don't think we can catch it. I think we're live for fourth.
Yeah,
I think fourth is our ceiling.
Yeah, I think that's the ceiling too. But hey, I hope both of them get up there, and you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
It's nice to meet y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Blake.
Do we want to go right into the draft, or do we want to?
We want to just now do an emotional check. How do we feel that someone who's not from Buffalo hates Josh Allen? Do these people? I mean, he's great players on his team. By the way, that was it's nice to see our representation on other peoples that aren't from Buffalo. So
I feel like Buffalo represented teams are going to be doing well here the next few weeks. I see a lot of points in our future. But all right, go ahead, Ellie.
We're gonna move on, is what you're saying? Is that
yeah.
Are we now moving on to this week's cats and dogs? Is that what we're gonna do?
Should we do it?
You guys wanna...
We're pretty tight. We're pretty tight in time.
I wish you did that, or we could do that segment that we didn't get to earlier. The buying the win now teams.
No, because we won't get through that too with the draft. We still have the draft.
Right.
Yeah. We still have the draft.
How about we we'll save that. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, you guys. I'm gonna
you take charge.
My birthday is on Saturday. Thank you for all wishing me a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I didn't want to say anything. But really though, so we saw that last week. I never really give my opinion on a cat and dog, and I killed it. And then you very lovely gentlemen didn't do great. So just to make sure no one gets injured and people get points, we're gonna skip our cats and dogs for this week. Right? Let's do that. So no feelings are hurt.
Ryan, I'll get yours. We'll tweet it. Another option. We'll see. I'm day drinking. There's a Sabres game on Saturday night. I'm planning on day drinking. We'll see where I end up Saturday night. I'm not promising our listeners, but maybe late Saturday night we could come into a Start Sit 'em show and we could do our cats and dogs. But if not, we'll tweet them and we'll go there. But more importantly, nobody wants to miss a good draft. And we
no
have
one wants to miss it. All right. So in honor of my birthday on Saturday, we're drafting the best Christmas toy / gift draft. Gentlemen, we will have our 4 top gifts, whether you want to say what you want to buy someone, whether you've gotten it before. Yeah.
While we were talking about it, this is going to be very open for interpretation. So I will have to maybe we'll have to post some segments on the poll this time because people are just going to see weird shit and be like, what? But we'll figure out how to do that. But when we were talking about this, one thing we wanted to do was like, we were talking about some really shitty gifts we've either gotten or given. Ryan, you made us laugh. Why don't you start with your story, and then Allie, I don't know if you have anything.
Yeah.
So I was probably 8 years old and had run out of time and ideas on what to get a certain family member for Christmas. And so I went around looking in the house for what I could package up and give to my mom as a Christmas gift. And I found some loose leaf paper and I found a stapler. And so I wrapped the stapler in the loose leaf paper, taped it all up and gave it to her as a gift. And she's a great mom. So she loved it anyways and probably thought it was super cute or really didn't like it. And, maybe that's a story for another day, but it seemed to work out. So it wasn't the greatest gift, but it's the thought that counts, even though it was a belated kind of time running out thought. But that's all right.
It's a great regift. That's beautiful.
Allie, what's
I have
favorite?
my so I have a blended family. I'm 4th of 5th out of kids, and I also come from parents that are stoners before it was legal, and and since my birthday's in Christmas season, like people forget about me then, right? Any December, January, people, you get the drift. But I opened a present once and it was a bottle return receipt. And I was probably in like 25, 26. It was in like a jewelry box. And then it was like for Tops, which Tops is a place you get like your pregnancy test, not your milk, So it was like, what? But it was like for like $4.85. And I was like, is this a joke? And I think it's because my parents just forgot they had 5 kids. So anyway, they're like, we got you a birthday present 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, that.
I'm January 5th, so I totally understand that. Like it's, you just had Christmas. You don't get anything for your birthday. You got another year of knowledge. That's what my mom would tell me. My favorite Christmas gift story, and it's a bit, so Allie, you may have heard it before because it's definitely became part of my stage act, but like it's 100% true, is about it's got to be 15 years ago. I was dating a girl semi-serious, maybe like 4 months in, but we're spending a lot of time together, and I was broke at the time, and we were like, let's have Christmas at my house. So we put up the tree, and I thought like we'd spend like one of the nights before Christmas opening up gifts. Well, every day she's just bringing in new gifts and like putting them underneath the tree with my name on them. And I'm like, at that point, like I had just gone to Spencer's Gifts. Like I had like crotchless panties. I had a couple keychains and, some bumper stickers. Like, I'm like, that's all you got. So I'm like freaking the fuck out when I was broke. And so I did the worst thing, and I made her a key to my house. Yeah, I swear to God. And so like that was like her big gift. And to me, that key was like, hey, if we're ever out together and you know, and then we leave separately and you beat me to my house, go ahead, let yourself in. You know, you could go. To her, it meant like just rearranging everything. She lived there. I ended up living with her for 3 years in misery. Like, and I mean, and the end of that bit, and the end of that bit is like kind of true. But how we broke up is she asked me what my dream wedding would be, and she wasn't in it. So it was really tough. But yeah, it literally put me in a 3-year really uncomfortable situation just because I was broke. So guys, make sure when you're giving keys that you're doing right.
I got
just like make a key to the shed in the backyard. Yeah, not the house key.
Help yourself to that lawnmower anytime you want, girl. Sorry, Ellie.
My day, it was just like you give someone your Netflix password. I'm just okay. Wow, I'm so sweaty thinking about that for you. I'm so sorry.
All right, I'm doing the order here. Allie, you have the number 1 pick, Ryan 2, and I'm 3. So Allie with the number 1 pick.
All right. This is again one of those moments where like you didn't read the book, but you're just presenting to the class. So, okay, my favorite gift I ever got in my entire life was a Talk Boy. Very exciting. We also talked about Home Alone. It was like the greatest toy in the 90s. Bring it back, along with the Talk Boy, aka just a recorder. Okay, Talk Boy.
so I now we kind of were all over the place on what the idea was. Would you give, if you could? I mean, it's probably like a nostalgic gift right now. Would I
give someone I love that?
Yeah.
Why not?
What would your like niece, say you had like a 10-year-old niece.
Yeah.
What would they say if you just handed them a Talk Boy for Christmas?
I'd be like, it goes in a cassette player. Yeah. They would she would be like, oh, probably not too happy now, but I would tell her to mind her business, you know, or she would be like, why? Like, you need to stop watching so much Dateline because like your mind is warped. It's like something.
I would if I found a Talk Boy right now, I'd use it. I used to do play-by-play of games on my Talk Boy. I would watch a game and I would do play-by-play and I would record them. My mom probably has like hours and hours of me doing play-by-play for games at her house. Ryan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We all lived very similar lives because I did the same thing with it was called the dictaphone though, which was, I think, just like what lawyers use to record things and then have their secretaries type them out. So I used that instead. I was recording myself as Rick Jeanneret.
Allie, it must have been nice to be rich, huh? It must have been nice. He was all rich. He used the lawyer voice. Me and Ellie had the can to our ears. And he's going.
Dictaphone. We're like,
you guys are making it sound
way using plastic cups like Bane voices. Just it's coming down.
Ryan got a secretary for his 8th Christmas. Like, here's your first secretary, son.
I'm not even kidding you. I did ask for and receive a desk for my Christmas gift one year because I really loved like the whole like lawyer shtick as a kid. But that's not my answer for the second pick, and don't make me take that. But the second pick of the draft is going to be specifically for me. It was a PlayStation 2, but I'm just going to say a PlayStation because getting a PS2 when I can't remember. I was probably in like middle school, like 7th, 8th grade, something like that. And like getting that PlayStation 2, I literally played that just like straight for a week and a half. And it was just the greatest thing ever. Like Grand Theft Auto and so many different games. And like, I loved it. So it's always great to give it as a Christmas gift. I think it still applies. Just now it's a PS5. But PlayStation is my answer.
Yeah, I like that. so I came with this a little bit different than what you would. I've thought about this in a sense of what I would buy my 2-year-old daughter today, because I wasn't rich enough to get it, to live through her childhood vicariously. And what's that?
Is it addictive?
Yeah. And so my number one pick here is going to be like arcade games. Like they're making a comeback. You could literally buy like an arcade game for your house for like $400, like a Pac-Man machine. And I would like, obviously a 2-year-old's not going to play Pac-Man, but I get it and be like, look at the Pac-Man thing. You got an arcade game for when you get older. And for the next 8 years until she was old enough to play it, I would be on that thing consecutively 8 years straight would be on that thing. So arcade games are making a comeback. You can buy them on Amazon now. I don't know if they're good, but I'm going to get one soon. And then number 2, you know, I think I had one in time. I don't want to sound like I was like too maybe broke to have this because it was a pretty cheap toy, but I don't remember it, and I would still play with it now and love to play it. A bright light. A bright light is such a cool, like, it was, I'm old. There was days of electricity was new back then. And I was like, oh, lights are cool. These kids with their fucking video games.
Did you not have a light bright?
I don't think I had a light bright. I'm
going to spoil it for you. It wasn't like it wasn't like a black screen. You had to like punch it through construction paper, which I never realized until I got a light bright. And I was like, this isn't as exciting. It's also probably a fire hazard. Right?
100%. I need to look up light bright fires. Okay. I did my 2. Ryan, you go while I Google that.
Okay. So I should preface my answers here are things either that I've gotten that I love or would get for someone that I think, so I don't know. It's either current or gifts that I've gotten in the past that I think are really cool. And an entire category of gifts that I think are awesome around Christmas time are like experiences over tangible things, like taking trips or going to do different things. And my fiance had got me a couple of years ago. It's actually up in Canada in the Wayne Gretzky Estates. It's called the Whiskey Bartender Course, and they still have it. So I'm giving them some free marketing, but you can go and essentially it's like a class that they teach you how to make one of their craft cocktails. You can buy the whiskeys and they give you all the stuff that you can use to make it with. And it's so much fun. It's great. You can spend the day there tasting different wines and spirits. And so as far as like experiences go, that was up there. We went when like there's like a ice skating rink in the back and everything. So going in the wintertime is totally feasible. So yeah, highly recommend experiences in general, but this specific course was fun.
That's very sweet.
Ellie for 2.
Okay, so this is if I was the white trash Santa baby song, I like a good gift card. I think there's nothing wrong with gift cards. I think you know what it's going to be when you open it. It's great. You don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I always wanted this. Like you don't even have to do that. So it's just like a thanks, pro gift card. I think we need to stop being like, oh, I'm just going to get you one. Okay. So anyway, I'm happy about that. My favorite regifting item for my pick number 3, which I like these items, but I think it's great when someone gives you a gift and you're like, oh crap, I didn't get them anything, is a regifted candle. I'm pro regifting candles. I'm going to win this. You'll see.
I feel like candles have just been regifted. Like there's never been more than 30 candles ever made. They just go around. They're like cash amongst bartenders in the same city. It just rotates through, and that's it. That's so great. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a very good one. All right, Ryan, go ahead. I know you're
all right. I'm going to go with the thinking behind this is I like gifts when they're bought for you when you normally wouldn't buy them for yourself. And so somebody else gets it for you, but it's like a nice thing to have. And so I'm going to go with Kiehl's skincare. for men. It's, good stuff, right? And as you're getting up there in age, right? Louis talking about this 40th birthday bash of his, right? And so maybe it's time to start getting a nighttime skincare routine going. So it's nice to have that stuff, and I would not buy it for myself, but it's nice when somebody else does it for you.
All right, I'm gonna go quick here because I know Ryan's on a time crunch, and also because I want to tell like a 30-second story from what his thing. But okay, Simon Says was like my favorite game as a kid. The things, and you gotta remember what it did, and it's probably why I have ADHD. But I love that game, and I want to just get that for like my daughter now, so she has something to stare at for longer than 20 minutes. And then I think a really funny Christmas gift now would be my last pick. It'd be just like getting somebody like a ball in a cup. It's like, I mean, legitimately, you laugh all you want, but all three of us played with a ball and cup for longer than 10 hours total in our life. Easily. Like, we've all done that. Some not like consecutively, but we have 10 combined hours of playing with a ball and a cup. And I just think it would be really fun to just bring, like, what if you just got grandma just like a ball and a cup? So great. It's so funny. Oh my God. Quickly, before I throw it back there, you did the what was your last pick? You did a pick. I was bouncing off skincare last pick. See, now I can't even do it. Because I don't remember. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Last pick for me is going to be Settlers of Catan. I love board games, and I think board games are fun, especially around Christmas time. There's, sitting around the table, you have food, drinks, you're just playing a game, right? And that's a really fun game if you've never done it. So Settlers of Catan.
I dig it. And I'll be real quick. I think the greatest gift, as everyone here has, except me, has kids, you're going to get this soon enough, but the handmade coupons I think are so cute. They'll never be used, but it's adorable. And the adult version of the handmade coupons is printing out a picture and then putting it in a frame. That's like the no effort. But that's my pick.
I like that. I remembered 30 seconds. Ryan, you talked about that drinking glass. Super cool. It reminded me of a time that I did this thing for the town of Tonawanda, whatever. No one knows town of Tonawanda if they're not here. Police department, where they feed you as much as you want to drink. They actually ask you what you want to drink. I got them, get me a bottle of Kettle. They feed you all the drinks you can, so their new recruits can do like DWI training on you. So best day ever, right? Like, get the drunk, don't have to drive home. It's great. Drink all day. And the instructor who asked me to do it, I knew him personally, like brought me aside like 8 drinks deep, and he was like, "See, Louis, isn't it good to like see like how many drinks it takes for you to blow numbers?" And I was like, "I don't think you get this. Like, I'm just trying to see how many drinks it takes for one of these girls to." All right, sorry. I wanted to end on offending Allie because she's had a bad week. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna offend the feminists. Real quick.
Thank you. No problem. All right, and that happy week 14, everyone. We want to wish Allie Brady a happy birthday. Oh my gosh. Good luck, everyone, week 14. Thank you for listening to Analytics Are for the Nerds.
See you next week when I'm a millionaire.